We are live here from a different facility, Clover manufacturing facility here in Kansas City. We have local world-renowned chocolatier, Christopher Elbow. He's going to be coming on here shortly, along with Bethany White, marketing director from Clover.
So I've been a chocolatier for about 20 years now. And so when Missouri passed and went legal, perfect opportunity for me to find a good partner in Missouri, and luckily we connected with Clover.
A lot of people know about Clover. Obviously, you guys were the first manufacturer to get up and running, first to provide these products to the dispensaries that were lucky enough to open first.
So we applied for all 11, so cultivation, manufacturing, and dispensary, and we ended up just getting the manufacturing, which kind of puts us in a tight spot when we are always relying on a cultivator as far as how much we have to pay for flower, how reliable it is, how much yield they have. So obviously our goal is to continue to be vertically integrated at some point, but right now we just have our manufacturing license, but we're happy with that.
Yeah.
And we're still paying top dollar for that flower price. I mean, it's supply and demand, it's economics. It's not just cannabis, it's economics. It's supply and demand. Yeah. The smaller supply there is, the higher the demand, they're gonna charge you more for that. And
Sure.
if we were vertically integrated, not only are we able to be more efficient, but the patient also wins at the end because they're not having to pay as much.
Sure. How does one become a chocolatier? What's the story?
Well, there's no formal training, right? There's not like a course you can go take. I've always had a passion for the industry. Wanted to be a chef before that, then became a pastry chef. And when I started working with chocolate and understood that this is an art form, right? This is like somebody who works with clay or paint, and I could manipulate it and do things and make it look like we do. I was hooked right out of the gate. So when I was a pastry chef at a local restaurant, we used to make the chocolates to send out at the end of the meal with a check as kind of a thank you. And customers started asking if they could buy them, so we started making them for events and weddings, things like that. And that's really when the light bulb went off, like, wow, I could maybe do this for a living. We're using really good European style butter, cream. They're really intense little pieces of not just beautiful to look at, but the flavor. When somebody eats this, is somebody gonna recognize that quality? Are they gonna think about it in a different light? We don't use extracts to flavor things, right? If it's a mint bonbon, we're using fresh mint leaves, or we're juicing lemons for our lemon bonbon. That's how we can get such intense, great flavors.
All separated into 10 milligram pieces there, a beautiful design. I've never seen a chocolate bar in a child safety proof thing before, but it's pretty freaking cool.
When cannabis started becoming legalized around the country and I saw other chocolatiers, getting into that market, I was always very curious about how that process happens. Chocolate making, what we do is very scientific, and this is no different. Even another step involved in that. Our product, this is really no different than what I do at my shop. And again, going back to the ingredients, the potency of the juices and the mint, the flavorings, whatever we're doing, the fruits, and then the high quality of chocolate that's really flavorful chocolate. It masks. We know we can achieve a great flavor, great profile, without having to really do much, because it's really the ingredients that we use that speak volumes to, kind of, I don't want to say masking the flavor of the cannabis, but complementing it more and making it feel like it's a very intentional part of the product.
So pretty much you're going with extraction that's removing all the terpenes, and you're reintroducing those with natural ingredients.
Yeah, I mean, the product we're getting from Clover, right, this extract that is real clean and pure, easy to work with.
We're using a CO2 distillate specifically because we know that his flavors are what we need. Yeah. And then the distillate and the THC is just the added benefit to that medication that he's providing.
Cacao is actually the fruit where chocolate comes from, right? It's actually a seed inside a pod, and it grows 20 degrees north and south of the equator, right? So we source a lot from Central America, some of the upper parts of South America, on through the Caribbean, some parts of Africa. The parallels between chocolate making and wine making are pretty cool.
Wow.
As far as what a winemaker can do. You know, you give 2 grapes to 2 winemakers, they're going to make 2 completely different wines. Chocolate's very much like that.
Somebody asked, will you have sugar-free options on your infused chocolate lines?
We haven't talked about that with Clover. Ironically, we've been working on that at my company for about 2 years now, and are coming really close to having a product that I feel represents what we would do. So I think that's something in the future that we definitely could add into the line.
So one thing that Clover has kind of prided itself on is you could have been a dispensary that has all 5 of your licenses, or you could have one that just popped up yesterday. What we do is, if you have an interest in buying our products, we offer equal allocation to every single dispensary. And we're reaching as many patients as we can. We understand that there's a need and a desire, but it doesn't make sense if it's at a certain price point that people can't afford. So right now we're kind of tossing up, is it worth having a 500 milligram gummy that people need if it's at this price point?
Yeah.
Because we're not a cultivator, we have to buy, I mean, in the DHS, they really need to get more cultivators online because of supply and demand, but that's kind of what we're up against right now. We can provide these things, but if it's going to kill your patients' pocketbooks, is it worth providing those things? And we get it and we recognize it, but right now it's like, how many patients can we help at one time with what we have?
Yeah.
So this is walking out now into the actual production kitchen. You know, the main room is where most of the chocolate takes place. It's highly humidity controlled, temperature controlled, and we'll have all of our machines that will hand mold the shells with, or enrobe the ganaches with. This is our cooking room right here that we were just in. We make all of our own caramels from scratch, all of our own, you know, ganache fillings, anything that goes in, it's all made from scratch. So this is kind of the beginning of the process for our bonbons. We actually airbrush. We use an airbrush that you would use for hobbies. Colored cocoa butter is our paint, and we actually airbrush the molds, and that's where the color will happen. A lot of people think we paint them after they're made, but we actually paint the molds. And that's how we can get them really, really shiny. We use these really good, high-quality polycarbonate molds. One thing you notice about our bonbons, they're really shiny, and that's a kind of a combination of things. The most important thing being having this really polished polycarbonate mold that we lay the colored cocoa butter down in. Let that sit. It's a long process. It takes 2 to 3 days from start to finish to make a bonbon. Yeah, so this is coming out. We're actually taking that painted mold and then you know, filling it with chocolate. We flood it with chocolate. Yeah, and it's a very methodical, detail-oriented, right? They're doing this thousands and thousands of times, and you know, our whole goal is, can we make the next one better than the one before, right? That's a very particular mindset that our staff has. So this is our packaging operation. Again, everything's packaged by hands. We hand tie ribbons on everything. You know, when you get a box of our chocolates, we want this experience, right? You're unwrapping it and kind of building up some anticipation as you get into it. So before you've even tasted anything, it's already been an experience.
How do you teach somebody how to paint a chocolate shell?
It's surprisingly easier than you think. Like everybody always asks me, you know, oh man, you must be a great artist, and I couldn't paint or draw to save my life. You know, we use a lot of different techniques to paint. You know, the splattering, or you know, sometimes even just a little swirl.
I'm showing a little close-up of the shininess of the artistry outside of it and all that. So
you don't have to eat a whole one of these. You get, you know, really satisfied on one square of really good, rich chocolate, or a really well-composed bonbon.
Thank you for having us. Thanks for letting us talk about our products and hang out with Chris. We're real good.
Headquartered in Kansas City, Clover is a cannabis-infused product manufacturer that believes in safe, consistent, and quality cannabis products for Missouri's medical marijuana patients. As the extractor, infuser, and wholesaler of their own products, they ensure patients are getting exactly what they are reading on the label. No chemicals, no funny business. Clover offers a variety of cannabis-infused products ranging from gummies and beverages to vape pens and concentrates, and offered from a variety of companies including Keef, Funny Bone, Wema, and Robots. Whatever consumption method you prefer, they've got it. At Clover's facility in Kansas City, they're excited to announce their new high-quality cannabis-infused Clover chocolate bars and bonbons with the help of chocolatier Christopher Elbow. Clover is excited to continue to launch brand new products in the Missouri medical marijuana market.